Oh, wow.
It began on a cold, soundless day, autumn of the year. The clouds hung oppressively low in the heavens. I rode alone on horseback through a singularly dreary tract of the country. As the shades of evening drew on, there I first caught my first glimpse of the melancholy house of Usher. I know not how it was, but when I came upon the scene, upon the mere house, I couldn't help but feel a sense of inevitable doom pervade my spirit. What was it that perturbed me so in my contemplation of the house of Usher? Its proprietor, Roderick Usher, had been my friend in boyhood, though it had been many years since we had last seen one another. A letter had arrived to me of late in a far-off sector of the country. A letter from him with a description of an acute illness which oppressed him. I pondered these many things as I rode a short causeway over the house. A valet of stealthy step thus conducted me through many intricate corridors and passageways. Dark tapestries lining the walls, carvings in the ceiling as I made my progress to the personal chamber of Roderick Usher. I opened the door into a large, lofty room, many tall, narrow windows lining the walls, but at an insurmountable distance for the black oaken floor to be altogether inaccessible from within. There were many tattered tapestries lining these walls. The furniture was comfortless, antique, tattered. There were many books and musical instruments laid throughout the room, but it gave nothing to arouse the general vitality of the scene. I felt that I breathed in an atmosphere of sorrow. Roderick arose to greet me from the couch upon which he lay at full length with a vivacious warmth, but I thought of as at first an overdone cordiality. His face was cadaverous. He was but a shadow of a man that I once knew. The silvered hair, more web-like than I remember, clung to his temples as he spoke, his voice trembling, almost as if he could not trust his own breath.
Is in air in this house that has long dictated the destinies of my family. There is an aura, a curse, which no mortal can escape. Do you not feel it, my friend? Do you not smell the decay that pervades the air?
I wished to offer him comfort, but his words had but an arrow of truth. I saw from the cornerstone to the top of the parapets, in every brick of its exterior, in every shadowed corner of its vast interior. The very walls themselves were on the brink of collapse, bound to the fate of its master. Roderick's sister, Madeline Usher, was scarcely seen during my stay. Her illness had long eluded the ability of her medical team. She wandered soundlessly far off distant corridors of the house, a walking corpse. One night, Roderick abruptly came into my room to tell me the Lady Madeline was no more. Sudden, though not unexpected. He told me of a desire to bury her there below the mansion for but a fortnight due to the strange circumstances surrounding her passing, the unending pestering questions of her medical team, and the far-off distant familial burial plot. I agreed to what I thought of as but a harmless, and by no means an unnatural precaution. That night we buried her below the mansion, looking upon her face but for one final time as we lowered her into the tomb, and then closed and sealed the door of iron. Leaving her there, we then stayed in the upper apartments of the house, a new, no less gloomy portion. Several days went by. Roderick's demeanor became more disturbed. He wandered aimlessly from corridor to corridor, his eyes wide with fear, speaking of sounds, footfalls, and whispers in distant rooms of which had no known author. A storm began to gather outside of the mansion, almost exactly mirroring the inner turmoil of Roderick's spirit. I pulled him away from the window, begging him, "Please, Roderick, you cannot behold this. Please come. The air, it is poisonous to you. Come sit. Let me read to you your favorite stories so we may pass this terrible night." I then grabbed the ancient tomb, the mattress, by Sir Von Innistrad. I began to describe the story found within. As I read the page, I heard in a low corridor a sound exactly matching the story. It was a cracking and then a ripping. Roderick's demeanor changed. He turned towards the door, his voice trembling as he spoke. "We buried her living in the tomb. Now here she comes. Her heartbeat, her footsteps on the stairs. Madman!" he cried. "I tell you now, she stands there at the door." As if by spell, the door swung open, and there stood the blood-stained, emaciated figure of Madeline Usher. For one moment she stood upon the threshold, then letting a low rumbling sound from her mouth before falling upon the room and her brother, and in a violent and a final death agonies bore him to the floor, a corpse. Horrified, I fled the mansion. As they fled through the causeway, a light erupted. The blood-red moon shone through a fissure in the house of Usher, opening widely the very walls, gave a final breath. It was a creaking and a cracking and a tumultuous roar. Suddenly and silently fell the final fragments of the house of